Good morning. I'm Dr. Becky Gardea, the proud principal of Jacinto City Elementary. Thank you for joining us today as we celebrate this new building. At this time, I will turn the program over to the Masonic Lodge of Texas past Grand Master Brian R. Dodson to perform the Cornerstone leveling ceremony.
It is a pleasure to be here today. You know, until the development of steel frame construction in the 20th century, most buildings were erected by stacking stone on stone. Each part of the building was marked by ceremonies. The foundation stone was the first stone placed underground at the beginning of the building's foundation. The cornerstone was the first stone placed above the ground level, and it was a massive stone, usually always marking the northeast corner of the building. And at the top of the building was the capstone. The ceremonies of placing these stones were under the direction of the stonemasons who built the building, although the highest officials of the church and state usually participated, including the king or his representatives. These ceremonies were occasions for public celebrations and fairs, each marking the progress of the construction of the cathedral or castle. When we level the cornerstone for this school building today, we'll be performing a ceremony that is more than 300 years old. The earliest record of an official Masonic ceremony for a public building was the laying of the foundation stone of the new Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh, Scotland. It is the one ceremony that connects modern Freemasons directly to the craftsmen or stonemasons of the Middle Ages, and it is essentially the same ceremony used to dedicate many of the great cathedrals and buildings in Europe. References to the cornerstone are found in the Bible in both the Old and New Testament, which further indicates their antiquity from a historical perspective. However, cornerstone ceremonies today are usually normally symbolic, and thankfully rarely involve the setting of the massive blocks of granite of yesteryear. American Freemasons have been leveling cornerstones since 1734, when Grand Master Benjamin Franklin presided at the ceremonies for Independence Hall in Philadelphia. Nearly 60 years later, George Washington, wearing the apron of a Master Mason and acting as the Grand Master of Masons in Maryland, leveled the cornerstone of the United States Capitol building on September 18, 1793. The first Masonic cornerstone in Texas was leveled on February 3, 1838, when Reverend Littleton Fowler, the Grand Chaplain of the Masonic Grand Lodge of the Republic of Texas, presided over ceremonies at the first Protestant church built west of the Sabine River in St. Augustine. In 1885, Z.E. Coombs, Deputy Grand Master of Masons in Texas, leveled the cornerstone of the magnificent State Capitol building in Austin. And in 1994, Billy W. Tinsley, Grand Master, leveled the cornerstone of the extension to the same State Capitol building. More than 120 Texas courthouses, hundreds of public schools, and numerous places of worship have cornerstones that were leveled by Freemasons. And the Texas Freemasons are privileged to have been invited to level the cornerstone of this new school. And we are pleased that you will be here today to witness this time-honored ceremony. Right Worshipful Grand Chaplain, you will lead us in prayer.
As we gather to perform the ceremony of leveling this cornerstone, we invoke the blessings of divine providence upon this undertaking. May all that is said and done here today remind us of our duty not only to serve others, but to always remember that all great gifts come from you. May this building serve the people of this community for years to come, and may the lives of all who enter it be directed in the path which you would have us follow. Amen.
Right Worshipful Grand Senior Warden the Grand Lodge of Texas, having been invited to lay the cornerstone of this edifice and having assembled for that purpose, I now order that this, the representation of the Grand Lodge of Texas, do now assist me in the performance of this work. This, my will and pleasure, you will therefore proclaim to the Grand Junior Warden, that the brethren and others present may have due notice thereof.
Right Worshipful Grand Junior Warden, it is the order of the Most Worshipful Grand Master that the cornerstone be now laid with Masonic honors. This you will proclaim to all present, that the occasion may be observed with due order and solemnity.
Brethren and all persons present, you will notice that the Most Worshipful Grand Master will now proceed to lay this cornerstone in due Masonic form. You will, therefore, observe the order and decorum becoming the important and solemn ceremonies in which we are about to engage.
Right Worshipful Grand Treasurer, you will receive the artifacts and mementos for placement within the cornerstone. Now, what we're doing is he's going to pass around this time capsule. This time capsule will be installed behind the cornerstone. And if you want to place anything in there, that could be business cards, that could be newspapers, that could be lists, that could be whatever you think could be put in there. And I would also tell the school that they ought to go through and make sure that they put things in there also. Now, make sure it's sealed well, because we have unsealed these and they're dust. So we want to make sure that they... Yeah. Oh, yeah, and if you do want to put cash, and people do put cash in there, make sure that you let us know, because at the end of the ceremony, I'll make sure to take that out and write a personal check. And Right Worshipful Deputy Grand Master, what is the proper emblem jewel of your office?
The square.
You will apply the square to those parts of the stone that should be squared.
I have applied the square to the stone, Most Worshipful Grand Master, and the craftsmen have done their duty.
Right Worshipful Grand Senior Warden, what is the proper jewel of your office?
The level.
You will apply the level to the stone.
I have applied the level to the stone, Most Worshipful Grand Master, and the craftsmen have done their duty.
Right Worshipful Grand Junior Warden, what is the proper jewel of your office?
Plum. The plum.
You will apply the plum to the several edges of the stone.
I have applied the plum to the stone, Most Worshipful Grand Master, and the craftsmen have done their duty.
Having full confidence in your skill in the royal art, it remains for me to finish the work. I find this cornerstone well formed, true, and trusty. And may this undertaking be conducted and completed by the craftsman according to the grand plan in peace, love, and harmony. Amen. So mote it be. Right worshipful sirs, you will dedicate the stone with corn, wine, and oil.
May the health of the workmen employed in this undertaking be preserved to them, and the supreme architect of the universe bless and prosper their labors. Amen.
So mote it be.
May plenty be showered down upon the people of this state, and may the blessings of the bounteous giver of all things attend their philanthropic undertakings. Amen.
So mote it be.
May the supreme architect of the universe preserve the people in peace and vouchsafe to them the enjoyment of every blessing. Amen.
So mote it be. May the corn of nourishment, the wine of refreshment, and the oil of joy, and all the necessities of life abound among men throughout the world. And may the blessing of the supreme architect of the universe be upon this undertaking. And may this structure, here to be erected, be preserved to the latest ages in order that it may promote the useful purpose for which it is designed. Amen. To you, brother architect, are confided the implements of operative mason, with the fullest confidence that by your skill and taste, a fabric shall arise which shall add luster to your fame as a master builder. May it endure for many ages, a monument of the liberality and beneficence of its founder. Amen.
So mote it be. Most worshipful Grand Master, Right Worshipful Grand Lodge officers, past and present, ladies, gentlemen, and my brethren. Why do we level cornerstones, and what do the ceremonies mean? As previously stated by the Grand Master, one of the ancient customs of Freemasonry observed is that the symbolic leveling of a cornerstone. The ceremony is as old as Freemasonry itself, and connects us directly with those craftsmen and stonesmen of the Middle Ages who erected the magnificent cathedrals of Europe. The definition of a cornerstone is a cubical or rectangular polished stone at the corner of a building near the foundation, but not a part of the foundation, and high enough to be easily read, having carved upon it the name of the owner or purpose of the structure, the date of erection, and sometimes other data. Such a stone is frequently made hollow, and at the time it is laid, it is filled with various articles current at the time, which it is believed will be interesting to those who remove the building at some distant future date. These articles may be coins, books, newspapers, city directories, etc. The tradition of deposits of various articles dates back to the time of ancient Mesopotamia. 3 working stones of the square, level, and plumb were found in a tomb in Egypt, and among the most ancient tools of operative masons ever discovered. The three elements of corn, wine, and oil have been used in dedications of buildings since the time of ancient Rome. Corn represents nourishment, plenty, and wine represents refreshment, and oil represents joy, peace, healing, and comfort. It is customary in operative masonry to place the first stone of the building in the northeast corner. The cornerstone, which is to Freemasonry a symbol of morality, is placed between the north, which Freemasons consider a place of darkness, and the east, which Freemasons consider the place of light. It symbolizes man's progress from darkness to light, from ignorance to knowledge. The cornerstone was leveled by the ancient craftsmen with great care, so long as they erected the walls in line with the sides of the cornerstone. The walls would be true and square. As they built the walls above the stone with a plumb line, so long as it remains in line with the cornerstone, it too would be true and square. The cornerstone reminds us that if we are to build a lasting structure, whether temporal or spiritual, it must rest upon a firm foundation and one which is truly set. When properly prepared by the working tools of operative masonry, the cornerstone is perfectly square, with each side perpendicular to the other. When firmly set and leveled, it provides a foundation upon which the greatest structure may be erected. Walls extending outward from these sides of the cornerstones will be square to each other, however far they may reach. The building rising above the cornerstone will attain great heights, and yet remain true in the plan of the architect. Too many may influence of lives expand into the world around us and may reach great spiritual and intellectual heights if we follow the lines generated by the true cornerstone, well set. And so the cornerstone is a symbol of embodiment of all that is perfect in form, alignment, and character. To the presiding officers of Galena Park, Lodge number 1290, we wish to express sincere thanks and appreciation for giving us the honor and privilege of leveling this cornerstone on this school building. May this school building stand ever tall among the citizens of this state, and may the wisdom, strength, and justice of those who occupy it from time to time distinguish this building and this community with paramount integrity, impeachable reputation, and outstanding service. Thank you, Most Worshipful Grand Master.
Right Worshipful Grand Chaplain, you will lead us in prayer.
As we conclude this ceremony, may each of us go forth in our daily lives committed to live in accordance with the principles we have here expressed. May we be given the wisdom to understand the truth and the courage to translate it into action. May the blessings of heaven remain upon this structure and go and guide each of us as we depart. Amen. So let it be.
On behalf of the Masonic Grand Lodge of Texas, we'd like to thank the superintendent and the board members of this independent school district and the principal and staff of this school for the opportunity to level this cornerstone. These proceedings are now closed.